my name is Bree and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about some of my favorite books that I read in 2023, and I will also make another video possibly next week of the worst books that I read in 2023. Before we jump into today's video, I'm going to show you guys some beautiful bookmarks that I have created. These are all like fantasy ones, different colors, varieties. They're like fourth one inspired. And then I got some that are like reading is power. So if you would like to buy a bookmark, they are 25% off from January 1st to January 7th. The shop will be linked down below in the description, so don't miss out these beautiful bookmarks. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's video. So there is no particular order as to where these like favorite books line up, because I think we cannot pick an order. We're just gonna start from like the books that I read like earlier in the year to the books that I read more recently back in December. The first up is Mexican Gothic by Moreno-Garcia. I love this book for a number of reasons, but my top reason has to be the supernatural elements of it and like the mysterious mystery that's going on between like the family and the house, and oh, it was lovely. It was so creepy and weird and just so unnatural that it was just so good. I loved it so much. And I've been craving books like this, but I have not found my high like I have with Mexican Gothic. The next book is Dusk and Grim by Chuck Winded. I'm sure I've mentioned this like a bunch of times on my social media, but I absolutely adored this book. I just love the main character. She's a cosplayer. I used to cosplay, so it's like I understood those little references and thought it was so cool. She always wanted the cosplay character, and I just love like the sibling like little rivalry and the bickering that was going on. And I also loved the supernatural elements of it. It was just so unique and so like it was so well written that I feel like I never got like it checked off everything I wanted to check off with like supernatural graveyard monster type of vibe. So I was like, I love this so much. So I really recommend reading this. So good. Next up is Carmilla by Shardine Lee Few. I'm sure I said that wrong. But I love this book for a number of reasons. Number one, because it was actually one of the first vampire books that were out. And also because it's a classic. I love reading classic literature. And I just love the supernatural elements to it and like the mystery to it and the horror. It was so good. Fun fact, that actually was one of the ones to inspire Dracula. I don't know why, I just love saying that fast. Like, that's just so awesome. And plus, there was also like a hint of like a romantic interest between two of the main characters, and they're both girls. And it was just so sweet to see, especially in like an old book such as this. Since, you know, like the LGBTQ community did not exist back then, and like it was a shame to be anything but straight. So yeah, I love that. I just loved how the author included that. And then up next is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know I talked about this book a lot on this channel also, but I just love this book just for the fact that like also for like the LGBTQ theme. Like I was not like expecting that at all. It was actually really sad and heartbreaking. And like, for some reason, I just love like reading stories about like people who were famous, like in a fictional setting, not like a real life setting, but like in a fictional setting, like famous people kind of like navigating through life and just kind of like going from like ordinary to like real famous, and navigating like the famous like that scene of like Hollywood and stuff. So I thought that was like really amazing. I thought it was really well done. And I also loved the twist at the end, the big mystery. I was just like, oh my god. But yes, I love this story so much. I really cannot recommend it any more than I could possibly can. Up next is Spellbound by F.T. Lucan. I've also talked about this book a lot on this channel. I feel like a lot of these books are going to be ones that I talked about on this channel a lot, so bear with me. I love this story because I love like the supernatural like magic like elements of the story. So like what was really unique about it is like in order to use magic they have to tap into like kind of like it's almost like how like Wi-Fi works. I don't know how to explain it, but like this, like the line, they have to tap into it, and they have to like draw magic from that, with their power from that. And only certain people can do it, like people who can see those lines, they can pull magic from. So one of the main characters, they can do that, but then the other main character, he cannot, and he's desperately trying to do it. And then like there's this whole big conspiracy theory with like the government and like the magical government, and then like the two main characters have to team up to save their mentors. It was just so good. So another fun fact, the author is also non-binary, so they use they them pronouns, and there were several characters in the story, including the main character and the one mentor, that use they them pronouns, and they're non-binary as well. In this world, it just made it seem so like acceptable, and so like no like challenges for that. So like it was so nice to see in like a world where like we don't have to worry about like people being like nasty towards you for your gender. So yeah, that was another nice plus. Up next is Give Me a Sign by Anna Sortino. Again, I've also talked about this book a lot. I actually made a video if you want to go back and watch it, like a more in-depth review. I love this book for the fact that the main character had a hearing loss and had to wear hearing aids, and as someone who also identifies as that, I wear hearing aids and have a hearing loss. It was really nice to see, and I just like never see like main characters like that felt so relatable, so I clung on to this character. And then they also go to like a camp for like the deaf and the blind, and our main character is learning American Sign Language, ASL, which I'm also trying to learn. So I thought it was like really unique, and so like it was just so relatable. Just like the situations that she was putting was just so relatable that I was just like, I just loved it so much, and like I really connected with this book, and I just love it. Honestly, I just loved it. Up next is The Office BFFs by Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsley. So this book I read as part of the Goodreads like awards that I did last year. And although I didn't think this book was necessarily should have won the humor category, but I did really love this book because I love The Office, and I love the characters. So it was really nice to see like behind the scenes, like how they were like behind the scenes, and like the actors and actresses all being like best friends, being a tight knit group, and even like Jenna and Angela going through like their own personal lives and becoming best friends, and it was so nice. I just loved it so much. I loved all the actors and actresses on The Office. I love the characters, so I was just like, I ate this up. Up next is The Maid by Nina Purse. I know a lot of people did not like this book, but I actually really like vibe with this. Like, I just love the mystery that was like behind it. Like, it was like a murder mystery of like, oh, who killed this high-profile celebrity in a high-profile hotel. And the main character, she's just a maid, and she was trying to clear her name. And then she was the last person in the room, so she's trying to figure out like if she killed him or if someone else did, or like trying to clear her name. And another thing about the character, from what I could tell, she's on an autism spectrum, and although the author didn't come out and state that, but you can kind of tell by like the way she like explains things and how she like socializes with people, and just you can just tell in the narration. And I thought the author did such a good job of telling the story through an autistic person point of view, and it also I kind of it was just really well done, and I think a lot of people did not like this book, but because of that, because of the lack of like emotion that like this character would like express. But then at the same time, you kind of have to look at it from the lens of, well, depending on who the person is, if you're on the spectrum, that could be lacking. So I really enjoyed this. So up next is a series. That series is Heartstopper by Alex Osman. I personally really love volumes 2, 4, and 5. I love these volumes for all different reasons. I love Charlie and Nick's relationship. They're just so sweet together, and just I loved how they're so like working hard together to like make the relationship work and just being there for each other. It's just like how like a romantic relationship should be, and it actually makes me really sad I'm not in a romantic relationship. But besides the point. I just loved how the author tackled like eating disorders. One of the main characters, he ends up suffering from an eating disorder, and he ends up going away to a hospital to like get cured. But instead of like just getting cured, he ended up coming back into reality after like spending time at the hospital, and you can still like kind of see his struggle. He's just not magically fixed, and I just love that because a lot of people do think because if you go away, then when you come back, you automatically become better. But that's not the case when it comes to mental illness. It's always a struggle. Some days are better than others, and it just felt so realistic, and I just loved it. And then, especially in Volume 5, the latest one that was just released last month, Nick ends up looking to go to college, and he's like kind of struggling, like where he wants to go, what he wants to do with his life, and it just felt so relatable. As someone who's a college student, sometimes I still feel like, am I doing the right thing being an English major? What am I going to do after I graduate? Or like even before I started my college journey, I was always like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I jumped between graphic design, medical, art, English, creative writing. So it was nice to see that like other college students feel like that, and also too that it's normal that people don't know what they want to do, or they might think they know what they want to do, but so that was really nice to see the realistic part of that. And also too, I love this series because of the wide variety of LGBTQ characters and cast, and I just loved it so much. Up next is All Boys Are in Blue by George M. Johnson. So this book I particularly love because just the way the author kind of like shared his like he was questioning his gender, his sexuality, and like growing up in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, so I kind of understand and can relate to that point. I really also love the fact that author's relationship with his grandmother. He calls his grandmother Nanny. I call my grandmother Nanny. So it's like they have such a strong bond, and me and my nanny have such a strong bond. So it's just like I really related to that in that aspect, and I just loved like the closeness that he was to his grandmother, and the fact that like she was kind of like stepping in to raise him a little bit, and I just love this book so much. I really highly recommend reading this memoir if you're questioning your sexuality and your gender, and if you need to like look up to someone who could be like a mentor. It tackled a lot of hard subjects, but it's worth it. It's worth reading it. Up next is A Tall Dark Trouble by Vanessa Montalban. So I love this for the fact that we see three different point of views. We see the twin point of views, like one of the twins, they really embrace their magical side. The other one does not and is learning how to embrace it. And then we also get a third one where it doesn't make sense in the beginning, but then at the end it ties up, oh, okay, like I get why we're seeing this person's point of view. Also, like the magical, like elements of it, they were so unique. And like the mystery, the horror, and like these twins, they get like visions, and it was so good. I just loved how the author like incorporated all of this into this novel, and it was just like I have no words. It was just so good. So the next book is actually a picture book, and this is Love in a Library by Maggie Toka Hall. I love this for the fact that it was actually based on a true event in the Japanese American camp, and like these two people, like they fall in love, and it's actually the author's grandparents that fell in love with each other. So she wrote a story about them, how despite like the bad circumstances, they were still able to make like good out of that situation. And it's also really important for children to know about this history, because let's be honest, we don't really learn about this in history classes. So it's really important part of American history that kids need to learn. And I just love how the author went about sharing this. And I also loved the illustrations of it. The art was really good. So even if you're not reading it to a child, I highly recommend reading it. Up next is The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. So I love this for the Native American heritage and learning about the culture, and also the fact that we kind of follow like these two different point of views of these two different like people going through their lives. It's a contemporary literature. So basically, when the one main character, the man with a young boy, he ends up losing his sister. His sister ends up disappearing. Don't know what happened to her. There's no trace of it. She ends up getting kidnapped essentially. And he always felt like he was responsible, and so we kind of see him kind of going through life with just kind of always thinking about that in the back of his mind and how he struggled to cope with it. And then the other character, she ended up kind of like, she's like an adopted daughter, and so she's kind of like navigating through her life and trying to find like the person that she is or she was. So this is a very powerful story. I never really cry when I read stories, but this story made me sob at the end. So I really recommend reading it if you want a heartbreaking but warm, happy story. So up next is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, and I actually cannot decide between the first book, Legends and Lattes, or Bookshop and Bone Death. These books were both so amazing in their own way. So like in the first book, the main character Viv, she's trying to open up a coffee bakery shop, and you kind of like go through the struggles of her trying to do that. And then in Bookshop and Bone Dust, Viv, this happened before Legends and Lattes, she ended up getting injured and she has to stay in like this village to kind of like recuperate, and she ends up finding a bookshop and helping the book owner kind of like get business back rolling again. So like these both are both cozy fantasies, and I didn't think I would like cozy fantasy, but let me tell you, it is so cozy. I love it so much. I can't get enough of it, and I want more. I'm even writing my own cozy fantasy. Like, this is ridiculous how much I love it. But yeah, I just love the coziness and like the low stake action. Yeah, sometimes it would be a little boring at times, but it was actually really nice to see. And I'm gonna do like a more in-depth video book review of these books, hopefully in a couple weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that. But yes, I really love these books. Recommend them if you're really into fantasy and you want something really low stakes. And then this last one is actually like a short story. So this one is The Priest and the Shepherd by Chloe Gong. It's actually part of the Foul Lady Fortune series, and I've actually haven't read the book series yet, but I read this short story because it was free, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna check it out and see if I think I'm gonna like this world. I already love the world. I love like the dynamics between the characters. I love like the characters' relationships, and I just thought it was like just so unique and so different, and I'm like really excited to jump into the series now. So that's it for this video, my favorite books of 2023. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Comment down below some of your favorite reads of 2023. I would love to know. And if you're not already, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Until next time, I'll see you guys then. Bye!